Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahams Parivrajakacarya Stotra Shat Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nand Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद जद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मायापुर धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय यमुना माई की जय तुलसी देवी की जय संवेद भक्त वृंद की जय नित्य गौ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. Glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. And glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, verse number 45. Darya dharma praviliyate nirnam varnashamachara yutastrayimayah tato artha kama bhiniveshet atmanam shunam kapinam iva varna sankaraha. Tada, at that time, Arya, progressive civilization, dharmaha, engagement, praviliyate, is systematically vanquished, nrinam, of humankind, varna, caste, ashrama, orders of society, achara yutaha, composed in a good manner, traimayaha, in terms of the Vedic injunction. Tataha, thereafter, artha, economic development, kama abhiniveshita, fully absorbed in sense gratification, atmanam, of men, shunam, like dogs, kapinam, like monkeys, eva, thus, varna sankaraha, unwanted population. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At that time, the people in general will fall systematically from the path of a progressive civilization in respect to the qualitative engagements of the castes and the orders of society and the Vedic injunctions. Thus, they will be more attracted to economic development for sense gratification, and as a result, there will be an unwanted population on the level of dogs and monkeys. Purport. It is foretold herein that in the absence of a monarchical regime, the general mass of people will be an unwanted population like dogs and monkeys. As the monkeys are too sexually inclined and dogs are shameless in sexual intercourse, the general mass of population born of illegitimate connection will systematically go astray from the Vedic way of good manners and qualitative engagements in the castes and orders of life. The Vedic way of life is a progressive march of the civilization of the Aryans. The Aryans are progressive in Vedic civilization. The Vedic civilization's destination is to go back to Godhead, back home, where there is no birth, no death, no old age, and no disease. The Vedas direct everyone not to remain in the darkness of the material world, but to go towards the light of the spiritual kingdom far beyond the material sky. The qualitative caste system and the orders of life are scientifically planned by the Lord and his representatives, the great rishis. The perfect way of life gives all sorts of instruction in things both material and spiritual. The Vedic way of life does not allow any man to be like the monkeys and dogs. A degraded civilization of sense gratification and economic development is the byproduct of a godless or kingless government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The people should not, therefore, begrudge the poor administrations they themselves elect. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The verse once again. Excuse me. At that time, the people in general will fall systematically from the path of a progressive civilization in respect to the qualitative engagements of the castes and the orders of society and the Vedic injunctions. Thus, they will be more attracted to economic development for sense gratification, and as a result, there will be an unwanted population on the level of dogs and monkeys. Very important verse. Very difficult also to understand and to follow it as well. But it's got to be done. So here we are hearing about Shamika Rishi, his son Shringi, about Parikshit Maharaj. Now, Shamika Rishi, he is concerned after his son cursed Parikshit Maharaj. So he is letting us know and letting Shringi also and all the other Brahmanas understand what exactly has happened and what are the repercussions. So now he's talking about Varnashrama system. Now we've already heard about Varnashrama system in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 13, where Krishna says, Chatur Varnyam Maya Shishtam Guna Karma Vibhavasa. How these castes, these ashramas, and these varnas need to be divided. What are the varnas? Varnas are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And what are the ashramas? Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. Of course, if we want to discuss or hear about this in detail, then we would need a few classes. We cannot just cover it up in 30, 40 minutes. It's not possible. But at least we come to know that these are the varnas and these are the ashramas. And here, Shamika Rishi is concerned that because of his son cursing Parikshit Maharaj, that the Varnashrama system will break down. And then people, because this system will break down, then people will be more inclined towards economic development, how to enjoy the senses more and more. And so they will get attracted towards that. And that would mean if people are not following the Vedic civilization or the instructions from the Vedas, then actually, according to this verse and according to the purport of Srila Prabhupada, such people are living like dogs and monkeys. I was thinking, why did Anasuya give me this particular verse about dogs and monkeys? Because for a layperson, it is very difficult to digest. What do you mean? Am I a dog or a monkey? But it's important to understand what is it in context with. what exactly is Shamika Rishi saying? Now, according to the scriptures, it clearly states that if a person is very attached to sex life, what do the, like Prabhupada mentions in the purport, dogs, they have, it's not that they just have sex with their spouse, because they don't have that intelligence. They just go about having sex with anybody in the sense, any dog. And the monkeys, what do? They just jump from one branch to another, have sex with one and another one and another one. So, if a person is just having that state of consciousness where I just want to enjoy, then Srimad Bhagavatam is comparing them to dogs and monkeys because their only inclination is towards sex. And that, according to the scriptures, is shameless and it is illegitimate connection. According to Bhagavad Gita, also, what we learn from Srimad Bhagavatam also, sex within marriage. Otherwise, it is considered illicit. And that's why we have these 4 regulative principles that we follow, where one of the regulative principle is no illicit sex. So, when a person starts going in the opposite direction of the Vedic injunctions, which means not following Vedic injunctions, then that person is going away from Vedic knowledge, which is actually our life and soul. It's our owner's manual, which teaches us how to live this human form of life. Because human form of life is not for eat, sleep, and be merry like dogs and monkeys. It is much more. It is to understand who we really are, self-realization. Excuse me. And that is possible when we take on the knowledge and put it into practice. You see, so the Vedas, they are teaching us how to lead a very responsible human life. We've got this human form of life after millions and millions of births. It's a very rare opportunity, and there's no guarantee that the next life is also going to be that of a human being. So we need to live this life very responsibly. And Bhagavad Gita actually is teaching us, even Srimad Bhagavatam, how not to live like an animal. Very important. Live like a human being, not live like an animal. What has happened, especially in Kali Yuga, people have forgotten Vedic civilization. They have forgotten goal of human life. They have forgotten how to be permanently happy. They have forgotten how to break the cycle of birth and death and go back to the spiritual world. Most are not interested. If I would invite, say, about 100 people to come and hear Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, maybe 5 of them may show interest and say, oh, yes. And maybe only one may turn up. Or even that may not turn up. That person also may not turn up. Why? Because not interested in realizing the self, not interested in spirituality at all. So just like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita is also teaching us how to end this suffering, how to come out of darkness and come to the light. I don't think any of us would like to be, locked in a dark room. It'll be very difficult because we are active by nature. We want people to talk to. We want to see, we want to hear, we want to taste, we want to enjoy the senses. So to be locked up in a dark room is a torture, you can say. It's a huge degree of torture, we can say. So Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam are giving us the light of knowledge so that we can come out from darkness of ignorance. Instructions are there. All we need to do is just follow them. That's all. And the Vedas, and of course, Bhagavad Gita is the essence of the Vedic scripture. So they are teaching us how not to waste our human form of life in just eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. We have this philosophical intelligence. What is it for? To use it, to use. And, like Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he talks about how, the civilization now is degraded. Why? Because people are moving away from Vedic injunctions. They are moving away from the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. All they are interested in is how to enjoy this body. Forgotten the difference between body and soul. So only interested in satisfying the body. What about the soul? Why just run around trying to make money and better position and more prestige, etc., etc.? There's no harm in going for that. But at the same time, if we add spirituality to our lives, we start becoming more and more Krishna conscious, then the life is going to be successful. So Prabhupada is saying, because people are, because of degraded civilization, why blame the leaders? It is said that people elect who they deserve. People, they elect those people whom they deserve. And then they call that democracy. Why complain? We elected them, we elected the leaders, so we have no right to complain about them. Now, to be able to elect the right or the suitable or bona fide leader, we need to understand what exactly does that mean? Who is a responsible leader, right? That knowledge we need to have. But otherwise, whenever it's election time, people start inquiring, who are you going to vote, who are you going to vote, they just want to know the names. What about the background? So we cannot complain about the leaders that we have elected ourselves. So here in this verse, from this verse we can understand that Shamika Rishi is talking to the Brahmanas and to Shringi, and his thought process, whatever he's speaking, is totally opposite of his son Shringi. So let us compare both of them, father and son, Shamika and Shringi. There is a difference in understanding. There's a difference of level of knowledge that both of them have. So the huge difference is that Shringi is a young boy. He's immature, inexperienced, very proud. The son is very proud and doesn't have the full understanding of Brahmanical culture and acts impulsively and is reaches to conclusions very, very quickly. He rushes to conclusions. He is not intelligent enough like a Brahmana should be. And that's why we see Shringi, as soon as he came to know about what Parikshit Maharaj had done to his father Shamika, he just, he immediately, what you can say, he reacted. And one of the reasons why he reacted immediately was he also wanted to show off to his friends. He was, playing with his friends when this situation happened. And he wanted to show off to his friends, look, I am the son of a Brahmana. And I am so powerful that I can curse even the king just like that. And that's why he rushed to judgment. There was no discrimination at all. He was just like, you can say in the mode of passion. People in the mode of passion, they make decisions just like that. You know, Instead of responding to the situation, they react to the situation. So, because of his you can say not having enough training, not having enough knowledge, and on top of that, he was so puffed up that he reached to an extreme judgment to curse the king, the pure devotee of the Lord, Parikshit Maharaj, cursed him to die in 7 days. Now let's compare him to his father Shamika. Shamika, a true Brahmana, not only by qualities, but also by example, setting a good example. He had the knowledge, he had the training, he had the experience, he had the guidance, and he understood the whole situation very clearly. He was not confused at all. It is said that he, was such a true Brahmana that he picked up things very quickly and he was very sharp. Intelligence was very sharp. And that is actually the sign of intelligence. When a person is considering oneself to be a Brahmana, is knowledgeable, is trained and experienced, mature, that Brahmana will always see the whole situation clearly and quickly, not sleep over it for a couple of days. No, he that is a sign of intelligence, and he understood this is what has happened, and now this is what needs to be done to rectify the situation. So he was considering all different aspects after Parikshit Maharaj was cursed. And he told Shringi, his son, that this king, Parikshit Maharaj, is not an ordinary person. You have given a curse of death to a king who is our protector. That is the responsibility of a king, you see, to protect the citizens. And now that you've cursed our protector, who's going to protect us? And he said, now rogues and thieves, they all will come up strong, because they'll say, oh, the king is gone in 7 days. There is no one to rule. So now let us flourish. So these rogues and thieves, they will start coming up very strong. So Shamika Rishi was taking the responsibility of his son's actions. He said, we are responsible. When I read that, when I even heard Parikshit Prabhu say, we are responsible, then I started thinking, but it was Shringi who cursed. So why he saying we? That is because the father is responsible for the actions of his children. That is why he's saying we should be responsible for that. And he's accepting the responsibility of his son's wrongdoing. And at that time, the Brahmanical community, all the Brahmanas, they all worked together. They were all together and they were all trained up. They were true Brahmanas at that time, and they thought of all the situations very carefully. If one Brahmana was wrong, the whole Brahmana community would be condemned and they would feel responsible. The whole community. And all because of one immature, inexperienced, less trained, puffed up Brahmana's son, Shringi. We can think of an example from Srimad Bhagavatam about Jai and Vijay, the doorkeepers of Vishnu Loka. They were the doorkeepers of Lord Vishnu. So when the 4 Kumaras wanted to go and have darshan of Lord Vishnu, Jai and Vijay stopped them. The doorkeepers stopped them because they saw these are these little boys, did not realize they are such elevated devotees. So because the 4 Kumaras were stopped at the door itself and not allowed to enter Vishnu Loka, the 4 Kumaras cursed Jai and Vijay that you will go down into this material planet because of your behavior. And when Lord Vishnu understood and he came to, meet the 4 Kumaras, he accepted the responsibility. They are my doorkeepers. So I'm accepting that responsibility of the wrongdoing of my doorkeepers. These doorkeepers, they are my servants. They, guard the Vishnu Loka. So I am taking the responsibility. So that makes us understand it doesn't matter in which ashram we are, which varna, it doesn't matter. whether we are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, whether we are a brahmachari in Grahasthashram, Vanaprasthashram, or sannyas, it doesn't matter. We need to be responsible people, responsible human beings. We have to be very careful how we act, how we behave, what we say, what is our mood, what is the state of our consciousness. Because this human life is a life of responsibility, not live like dogs and monkeys as mentioned in this verse today. You see? Because the way we act, especially as devotees of Krishna, the way we act, the way we behave, it reflects upon our spiritual master and ultimately Srila Prabhupada and Lord Krishna. People should not say, oh, look at those devotees, see the way they are behaving, and they call themselves devotees. You got to be very careful. We need to be really well trained up with a lot of knowledge. We need to put these instructions from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam into our lives, put them into practice, and behave properly. Live like responsible human beings. See? Because otherwise it will reflect on the authority, whoever it may be. So here, Shringi cursing Parikshit Maharaj is reflecting on the whole Brahmana community. Now, of course, in Kali Yuga, one Brahmana does something wrong, it doesn't affect the other Brahmanas at all. It's like, okay, that's his problem or her problem, whatever it may be. But at that time, it reflected on the whole Brahmana community, you see. So, as we have heard even in Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada in his purports, he talks about the life of responsibility, and he says that if a person is a king, a leader, a parent, or a spiritual master, they all have to take on the responsibility of their dependents. If something wrong is done by the dependents, they need to take the blame. If something good is done, they do get the benefit, right? So if the citizens are doing good or bad, it's the king or the political leader or whoever it may be gets the blame. So that position is a position of responsibility. Similarly, here the whole Brahmana community, they felt they were responsible. And Shamika Rishi, he understood that now the whole Brahmanical community will suffer because of the wrong done by one Brahmana's son, just one. So he understood, yes, all of us are going to suffer. Now, I was thinking when I was preparing for this class, I was thinking what pastime can be talked about as far as the whole Brahmana community getting affected or suffering. Many years ago, sages were performing a yagna on the banks of Saraswati. And Bhrigu Rishi, he was also part of that. And during the yagna, they had a discussion. And the discussion was that we are offering, in the fire sacrifice, we are offering oblations to Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, we are offering oblations to all of them. We wonder who is topmost between the three of them. That thought itself is wrong. No comparison. We cannot. With the little tiny brain that we have, no, we cannot. But here, Bhrigu Rishi, he, along with the sages, they started a discussion on who is topmost, who is higher, and who is equal, or whatever it may be. And now Bhrigu is actually the son of Lord Brahma. And so all the sages decided, Bhrigu, you need to go to all three of them and find out who is topmost. So he, being the son of Brahma, he said, okay. So he thought, let me see how can I find out who is the highest. So he came up with an idea. Let me see who is more tolerant. The one who is able to tolerate the most is the highest. And we know whenever there are, you can say, provoking circumstances, the tolerance goes out of the window. Like, we are unable to tolerate when someone starts, poking us or provoking us. So he thought that would be a good way to find out. So he decided, let me see who is in which mode, whether in goodness, passion, or ignorance. How very offensive to even think that way, to figure out if Lord Vishnu is in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance, right? So he first went to Lord Brahma, his own father, and he had this in the back of his mind to see, their level of tolerance. So in Vedic times, it was a proper etiquette to offer obeisances to your father, to elders, offer to saintly people, but he did not offer, you know, any respect. So Lord Brahma, he didn't say anything, but he was angry in mind. It's like, what kind of son do I have who doesn't even offer obeisances to me? I am his father. Brigu understood and he said, no tolerance. Even mentally is not able to tolerate. So went to um, Lord Shiva. And there also he did not offer any respects. Now that's his brother, right? Lord Shiva is also son of Lord Brahma. So Lord Shiva got angry verbally that you don't know proper etiquette. You're supposed to offer, I am your brother, you're supposed to offer me obeisances. So Bhrigu understood, nope, there also is no tolerance. So then he went to Lord Vishnu, he went to Vishnu Loka. And now what he did was he went straight up to Lord Vishnu and kicked him on his chest. Imagine, with his foot, he kicked the chest of Lord Vishnu. And what do you think Lord Vishnu did? Immediately he got up and he took the foot of Bhrigu and he started massaging. And he said, I am so sorry. My chest is so hard. You probably got hurt. So let me massage your foot. Then Bhrigu realized this is the topmost position. Lord Vishnu is the topmost. No one is equal to him because he is most tolerant. But what happened in this process, in the process of this? Lakshmi Devi, who was sitting there, watched this whole episode and she decided, a Brahmana has kicked my husband's chest. So from now on, I will not favor the Brahmanas. That is why we see Brahmanas are generally poor, because of action of one Brahmana, Bhrigu, the whole Brahmana community got affected. But when I heard this pastime for the first time, I thought actually it's a blessing. Because if the Brahmanas don't have wealth, they will not be attracted to sense gratification, right? It's good to be poor. I'm not saying all Brahmanas should be poor, but I'm just thinking aloud that it's okay if, Brahmanas don't get wealth. But this is the curse that was given by Lakshmi Devi for Brahmanas in general. So you see, action of one Brahmana can affect the whole Brahmana community. And Shamika, he has understood the whole situation, and he also knew that Parikshit Maharaj was was the best king you could find, was a pure devotee of Lord Krishna, and he knew that Parikshit Maharaj would not take any action. No action whatsoever. He would, if he wanted, he could counter curse Shringi, but Shamika knew Parikshit Maharaj is not going to take any action. And he also knew that Parikshit Maharaj would take this curse as a blessing. And he would not only take that as a blessing, but will start preparing for his death. That is what we need to do on a daily basis. Prepare for our last moment. And that's what we are doing. We are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. We hear Bhagavatam every morning. We hear Bhagavad Gita in the evening. So this is called preparation. And Shamika, a thought came to his mind that now that Shringi has cursed the king, Krishna is not going to be happy because his pure devotee has been cursed. So he started praying to Lord Krishna, please forgive my son. So you see, today's verse we see is talking about Varnashrama system, which is very scientific, which is very systematic. Srila Prabhupada says it is created by Krishna himself. And it is the reason for Varnashrama system is so that we can progress spiritually. Of course, we can progress materially also side by side, just by following the Varnas and Ashramas. But once there is a breakdown in the Brahmana community, then it is going to be more and more degradation. And Shamika understood that this breakdown is happening because of my son Shringi. And when this breakdown happens, then the king will not get advice from the Brahmanas because they will all be affected by that situation. And then the king will break down and then the government will start falling down. So the purpose of Varnashrama system is to uplift us to the mode of goodness. But for that, we need to have knowledge. And while having knowledge, we need to act according to the knowledge and also guidance, not depend on our minds, because our minds can, fool us very easily. Srila Prabhupada has given us so many books with so much knowledge, with purports to explain to us how not to depend on our mind that can fool us anytime. The whole process is given to us. Process, even the spiritual master is given to us by Krishna. Everything is there. Advanced devotees are there. Temples are there. Books are there. Everything is there. All we need to do is read these books scrutinizingly. We can make this as our New Year resolution, that let us become more and more Krishna conscious. Let us do more bhakti. Let us read more. Let us chant more attentively. Let us hear more. Let us take more guidance from senior devotees. Then there will be no fall down. Isn't there a saying, God helps those who help themselves, right? So from this today's verse, we can learn that we need to follow the Vedic civilization and not live like dogs and monkeys, just running and running after sense gratification, trying to enjoy the senses. Senses can never be satisfied. If I have a bucket full of water, but there is a hole in the bucket at the bottom, what is going to happen? All that water is going to drain out. No matter how much water I fill in the bucket, it's all going to leak out. That is how the senses work. No matter how much we try to satisfy them, there is a hole, which means all that goes away, and then there is more and more desire to enjoy the senses. We can never satisfy the senses. So why keep trying? Why not dovetail all our activities towards Krishna consciousness, right? So I'll end here with reading today's verse again. At that time, the people in general will fall systematically from the path of a progressive civilization in respect to the qualitative engagements of the castes and the orders of society and the Vedic injunctions. Thus, they will be more attracted to economic development for sense gratification, and as a result, there will be an unwanted population on the level of dogs and monkeys. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mother Gita, for such a wonderful class. Amazing start of the year, I have to say. Speaking about, you touched on so many points, our Vedic civilization, how we have, been drifting away from it, which is a very good time for us to really think of it, of that while we're starting the new year. And you talked about brahmanas, their characteristics and their behavior. And as you're speaking, and also you talked a lot about tolerance, when Brigu kicked the chest of Lord Vishnu, which is, again, talking about a Vaishnav quality, that's what I was being reminded of from this amazing book by Satsrup Maharaj. The 26 qualities of a devotee was tolerance. So I was thinking about so many points and such wonderful points for all of us, I feel, to really meditate on, and you mentioned the word also New Year's resolution. And when you spoke about Brahmana's mother, I was thinking about Mother Chandramali Swami's class that I attended, I think a couple of weeks ago. And he mentioned a very strong point in his class that a Brahmana's duty is to teach and guide the society, to teach and guide the society. And what's coming to my mind, Mother, is, like you said, we don't, Brahmanas today, it's poor, lack of better word. Not everybody's rich. So how, Mother, can we really, and also Maharaj said that Shri Prabhupada wanted to make Brahmanas,
Yes.
y- you know, but at the same time, we have been told that we are Sudras.
Mhm.
So how do we balance that, Mother? Prabhupada said, okay, we're all Sudras, but at the same time, he wanted to make us Brahmanas. So it's like contradictory. Can you speak about that, Mother?
No, it's not contradictory. We are not Shudras, we are born Shudras, right? That's the
Oh,
difference. We are born Shudras, but we can change it. We can change it and become Brahmanas. The reason Srila Prabhupada wanted us to become Brahmanas is because Brahmanas are considered the head of the society. If you see the body, Brahmanas the head, Kshatriyas the arms, right? Vaishyas the belly, and Shudras the legs. So the head of the society is necessary, which means the brain is necessary, yeah, to run the society. Now, for instance, if I lose my arm or my leg, my body can still work. But if my head is gone, the body is gone. It cannot work, right? Head is important. So similarly, Brahmanas are very important. They're considered the head of the society because if they are true Brahmanas, not by birth, but by qualities, right? By having those qualifications, like we have in the Bhagavad Gita the list of the qualities required for a Brahmana. So when we work in such a way, we take on knowledge and we put Bhagavad Gita into practice and we develop those qualities of a Brahmana, then we consider ourselves as Brahmanas. And they are necessary because, especially in Kali Yuga, where spirituality is not practically negligent, it's practically not there. Most people are not interested in bhakti. So, for this age, especially, Brahmanas are more important so that they can guide the general public with the help of knowledge from the Vedas. Does that make sense? So it's not contradictory, it's necessary.
thank you. Thank you. That a very important point. And I think, Mother, also the point that you mentioned that we have to, it's stated in the Bhagavad Gita, how to develop those qualities to become a Brahmana.
Mhm.
Because and when you're speaking, it reminded me of Balabhadra Prabhu's point, example is better than precept.
Yes.
It's how to set the example. Thank you, Mother. Thank you so much. Yes, Parikshit, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Excellent class for the beginning of the year. So many points. And as you were giving the lecture, then some thoughts that I had when I was young now began to crystallize in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
The society that I grew up in, when children do something in public, they do something bad or unexpected, and an adult sees it, the first question they ask the child is, "Who are your parents?" Yeah, who are your parents? That's it. I never understood why. And in my, childish mind, I was thinking that when the adults ask, "Who's your father and mother?" that I thought that adults would go report the child to the father and say, "Okay, they've done this." So they wanted that, identification so they know which parent to go to and say that. But
Yes.
now that I've looked at the situation again, because of what Shingi did and the father taking responsibility, I now made a connection
Mm-hmm.
that if I do something bad, it reflects on my parents.
Yes.
So it's also possible that when other adults see the mistake that I may have done, that they would say, "Who's your parent?" And when I answer it, it also means that my parents have not trained me properly. And
Yes.
that's why now, see, at first I thought I would be reported and I'll be punished by my parents, but now I realize it actually reflects on the extent to which I have been trained by my parents. And
Yes.
it took this whole connection between Shingi and Shamkrishi to bring this point out. Shima Bhavatam ki jai. You can always learn so much. But
Yes.
thank you very much for bringing it
While
up.
you
Yeah.
were saying this, I remember that, when the child does not get a good report in school, parents are called. Right? Parents are called, the principal or the teacher will
Yes.
call parents, but you are responsible for
Mm.
training your child or guiding your child. So yes, it's a um, position of responsibility. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you
Mother,
very much.
if I can share something which is very sad, and then I'll go to Mother Aditi Lata's question. When you were talking about piggybacking on Parikshit's point about in the school when the child does something wrong, they'll call the parents in, right, to say how to help. And in
Yeah.
today's time, Mother, I've noticed that responsibility on the parents is so weak. It's so weak that they have to use someone else's name to quote unquote do emotional blackmail to their child to do something. And
Yeah.
it is so sad. It's like I can't think of any other word. And I don't want to mention names, but there is a situation with one devotee. I just found out about a month or two ago, and I was like, Hare Krishna, here am I a demon. Like, but when this family cannot make their child eat or whatever, they have to use my name.
I'm
I said,
sorry.
this kid is gonna grow up thinking that I'm a demon. Like,
Yes.
you know? And it's like this, oh, Mataji is watching you through the security cameras. I'm like, what is, but it just shows how, the Kali Yuga is degrading to the point that even parents cannot take responsibility of raising their child within the house. Forget being in school, that they have to use someone else's name.
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
so sad, Mother.
It is, it is. Yes, it's because maybe the parents are not well trained, not well,
Mhm.
not having enough knowledge, not practicing what they are preaching. So, yeah, that happens. Sorry to hear
Yes.
that.
Yeah, they made me a demon in the house. I was like, Krishna. I had to share that. Yes, Mother Aditi Lata, please go ahead.
Mataji, it's a wonderful class. Thank you so much. And to start off the year with your wonderful lecture, it's wonderful actually. So, like Parikshit Maharaj, Parikshit Prabhu was just now saying, so I also heard that it uh, that when the kids are 5 year old, they are responsible for their karma, whatever they're doing, right? Like Prahlad Maharaj, probably in his teaching. So that's where I came to know everyone in the temple when they discussed about that. They said that oh, kids are responsible for their karma if they're throwing away prasadam. Before that, parents are getting their karma, so parents are responsible. So why are we in this scenario? Why is the parents? Why is the brahmanas being, taking all this karma? Because actually it's an individual karma also, because his father might have, of course, have taught him whatever, but individual person accepts to do it or not do it, right? So even for our kids, like I teach my kids to do this, but then if they don't do it, I can only do so much. I cannot, like, make them do it.
Mhm.
So how does parent be responsible in this?
Well, Srimad Bhagavatam clearly states that one should not become a parent if one cannot deliver their children. That is there in the Bhagavatam. So it, because it is a life of responsibility. So if that is why in the scriptures we have the Garbhodhana Samskara, before even planning a child, there is a process, the husband and wife need to chant 64 rounds, and it's a level of state of consciousness required before even conceiving a child. So because it's a position of responsibility. So the parents, now that they have brought the children into this world, they have to take that responsibility. There's no way out. So what the parents can do is, um, first, they themselves need to be knowledgeable, well trained, be under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, and try and set a good example for their children. That's very, very important. You see, actions, they speak louder than the words. Say for instance, like if I am, getting very angry in front of my son, then I cannot ask my son, don't get angry, because I am myself doing that, right? So I have to first set a good example for my children, rather than, see, the problem we have is we have a lot of expectations from everybody else, but we forget to look at our own selves, right? We want spouse to do this, we want children to do this, we want boss to do this, we want devotees to do this, we want management to do this. We are expecting from everybody around us, but we forget, what about us? What are we doing? What an example are we setting, right? So children, yes, they come with their past karma, as it is said in the Bhagavad Gita, that the spirit soul, it goes into the next body along with the subtle body, right? Mind, intelligence, and false ego. So it carries its nature onto the next body. And as Bhagavad Gita says, beings follow nature. We cannot change nature, but we can work around it. So children, they come with their past karma for sure, but karma is not eternal. It can be changed, right? We learn from Bhagavad Gita chapter 3 and 5. We can change the karma. By how? By practicing Krishna consciousness very sincerely and seriously. So we can make this as a New Year resolution, that we will try harder. Prabhupada says bhakti is not casual. It is a very serious business. So we take up this, process of bhakti yoga very seriously and practice it. And our example, we do our best. Sometimes there is a question. I've tried my level best. Excuse me, I have done everything possible. I'm setting also a good example, but somehow my child is not interested in bhakti, you know, this or that or whatever. At least we have done our part. See, if we do our part as a parent, then we don't get the karma, bad karma. Provided we do our part. I mean, this is a huge topic of discussion. We need days and days to, probably a seminar on this that can be, conducted on this. So, but this is what I can tell you, in summary. I hope that helps you.
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much. Like I was thinking of the example of even Bhakti Vinod Thakur, not all kids were a great devotee like he was, even Prabhupada's sons, and also that's why I was thinking like of course, as you're saying, we have to follow our path, we have to show by our example, but we cannot be 100% sure that they will follow this path. We will try our best.
Should
That's
not
it.
worry about that. Leave it to Krishna. We do our part. We do, take care of our responsibilities and then leave the rest to Krishna.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
That was a very nice question, Mataji. Thank you so much. I'm sure many of us benefited from that question and answer. Thank you. Any other questions from devotees as we start the new year? Please, it's a wonderful way to get our questions answered. Any clarifications or doubts that we would like to clear up, please do raise your hand. If you have any questions, any comments, anything that you would like to ask, going down the list. It's nice to see so many devotees online hearing on the first of the year. If there are no questions, Mother Gita, thank you so. Wait, there is a question. Right in time. Go ahead,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Mataji. I don't have a question, but just a comment. First, I would like to thank Gita Mataji and everyone, and Happy New Year. And that's wonderful. I think these are all questions are good, but my comment is what I heard so far is our Guru Maharaj, when we take the initiation, right? He's showing by example and he's guiding us with all his best that we should follow that path. So now, if I'm not going to follow, definitely I'm going to get the bad karma. But at the same time, Guru Maharaj will also get affected by this. We heard so many times. It's not like a full capacity what I'm going to affect, but he's showing by examples. That was, I think, previous questions was, as a parent, I want to show my child that I'm following that path. That's what I'm guiding you. So if he is not going to follow, definitely he will get the 100% punishment. But some impact will be there because I am his father. But at the same, Gita Mataji mentioned that one, that if I'm following that very sincerely, the impact will be less. But still there is some impact for this. As example of Guru Maharaj, he's giving initiation to so many devotees. But before giving the initiation, he's thoroughly checked that he's a qualified. He's capable to walk in that path. I'm guiding him. But still, I know that so many devotees not able to walk that path, then the punishment will be there, right? But as Gita Mataji said, as a child, for our child, we have to give all the information that this is the right, this is the wrong thing. This is what Guru Maharaj said. But it's impossible in the same house, in our family, like we are two brother and sister. We all three following the three different paths. But my parents gave me the same knowledge. We all three went to the same school, same teacher, everything till our age of 18. But now we three are, you can't believe that we three are in the three south, east, west direction. We are not following the same. So we have to suffer our karma. But our parents, in our case, my case is a little different. So, but the thing is, I'm trying to preach my kids, my elder sister also. They are not listening. But I'm trying to show by my example. Just I want to bring that point that our Guru Maharaj is our spiritual father. And he is giving his best knowledge. So I have to suffer because of that if I'm not going to follow what he is guiding me. So that's just a thought, Mataji. I think, I don't know if it's going to help, but I immediately thought that Guru Maharaj is a perfect example because he's also suffering if I'm not going to follow. But I will get 110% punishment if I'm not going to follow what I vowed to him.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhu.
Very nice point, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. It's by the mercy of our spiritual master that we even got the opportunity to be on this path. So we definitely owe that to our spiritual master. He's showing by example and guiding us. Thank you so much. Any other questions before we end this class? I want to respect Mother Gita's time here. And if there isn't, we thank all of you for joining us, and a very nice discussion, very lively, perfect way to start the year. And we hope everyone benefited and learned and took away something from this class as we start the new year. Vanchakaprubyascha, kripasindhabevacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Right.
Have
Hare
a wonderful
Krishna.
New Year. Hare
Hare
Happy New
Krishna
Year to
conscious New
all.
Year. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Bol.
Wonderful
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
conscious
Hare
year
Krishna.
to everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you. Happy
Glory
New Year
to
to
Srila
everyone.
Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Happy New
Hare
Year.
Krishna.
Krishna.